snap. Newsy Pooloozi.
Hello and welcome to Newsy Pooloozi, the news pool for curious kids and adults. This week you may or may not like them, but 20% of reptile species are at risk of becoming extinct. And if you think it doesn't matter, we'll give you the lowdown on how and why it does. And move over, SpaceX. Another spacey company is doing ballet, catch and carry maneuvers in the sky. Speaking of space, plans are underway to send some hearts to the moon. But can you guess whose? And a new bridge in Vietnam is for thrill seekers only. Listen till the end to find out why. I'm Leela Shivshankar Prickett, and as ever, I'm joined by the Big Story Explainer and Sound Effects Finder, otherwise known as my mama.
Howdy, y'all. I'm Lindy Prickett.
She's from Texas, but we live and broadcast from New Delhi, India. This is Newsy Pooloozi, the coolest news pool around. Let's dive on in, starting with the big news story of the week.
All right. They might not be your favorite kind of animals in the world.
That's an understatement.
And warning, you might hear Leela squeal with terror as we do this story, 'cause she hates them. But 1 in 5 reptiles worldwide are threatened with extinction. A new study just published in the journal Nature assessed over 10,000 reptile species and found almost 2,000 are categorized as vulnerable, endangered, or critically endangered.
And while that might not seem bad, I mean, one less lizard or snake seems okay if you want my personal view. But no, I don't count in the grand scheme of things.
And by things, we mean the Earth.
The environment, which kind of actually does affect me and everybody. So even though one less reptile seems fine, losing 20% of them could change food chains and ecosystems radically.
Yep, and there would be knock-on effects, such as an increase in pests and insects. See, I love lizards because they eat mosquitoes. Not just that, but biodiversity.
Meaning a lot of different types of plants and animals.
Yep, well, that's crucial. And reptiles aren't just literally slithering around on the ground, but their existence underpins our ecosystem, which provides a healthy environment for us, as in people. And by the way, 5 fab facts that characterize reptiles coming up. Cue the music, Leela. Reptiles are vertebrates,
which means they have backbones.
Their bodies are completely covered with scales,
which means they're super ew and creepy.
But their scaly skin protects them from injuries, and being waterproof keeps them hydrated. Also, they're cold-blooded, meaning their body temperature varies with that of their environment. Now, the reptiles that face the greatest threat are turtles, with about 60% of their species at risk of extinction.
Aw, they're the only cute ones.
Next, crocodiles, with 50% of their species at risk. And contrary to what the researchers expected, reptiles in forests are a greater threat than those in dry habitats, like deserts, shrublands, and savannas.
That's bad since more than half of all reptile species live in forest habitats.
I know. The good news is there is a clear path on how to get reptiles back. Reduce deforestation. Stop the illegal trade in reptiles.
As pets, ew, and decoration for your purses and boots.
Yes. And now the last one. This is interesting. Farmers should improve the way they farm. Become more productive so they don't have to cut down more forests to make way for more fields.
Sounds simple.
The problem is sometimes the most simple things
are the most difficult to do.
And now staying with science, but going from things slithering on the ground to things falling from space.
I think it's time to cue our spacey tunes.
So one of the reasons why we're not all flying to the moon on, vacation is not because it's not possible, but because it's
expensive.
Which is why presently it's just for scientists and billionaires. But
everyday space companies are trying to find out a cheaper way of doing things.
Like not letting super costly equipment,
like the boosters used to boost the rocket into space,
not letting them just fall down to Earth, into the ocean, where they quickly erode in the salty seawater.
What a waste.
But
enter the helicopter catch.
Yes, a chopper from a company called Rocket Lab has managed to catch a rocket booster in midair by dropping a cable down with a hook on one end, which, as you can imagine, involves flawless perfection, coordination, and timing so that everything is
synchronized.
Exactly. Or in the words of the New Zealand company founder, Peter Beck, bringing a rocket back from space and catching it with a helicopter is something of a supersonic ballet. Now, it turns out that the helicopter pilots decided to drop the booster into the water.
Are you kidding me? After all that effort?
Yeah, it's hard carrying such a big load in midair. And they noticed the weight of it felt different to when they'd practiced, so to be on the safe side, they let it go. But it has been retrieved and is being assessed to see if it can hopefully be used again in another mission.
Well, I hope they can get the catch and carry right soon.
Me too. But this is still a big advance because so far, no company other than SpaceX has been able to collect and reuse its rocket boosters.
But if more companies can,
it means the more likely the price can come down for the likes of you and me
to travel to space.
One day.
One day. What's that? I'll tell you what. That's the halftime bell, which means it's time to hear what's making news around the rest of the world. Hold on tight. It's
Around the World in 80 seconds.
Whoa, hold tight.
There's unrest in the South Asian nation of Sri Lanka as security forces are ordered to shoot lawbreakers on sight in a bid to stop protests. People are calling for the country's president to resign over the island's worst economic crisis in history. As Russia is reportedly preparing for a long war in Ukraine, high-profile stars visit the country. The latest were rock stars Bono and The Edge from the Irish band U2. And U.S. First Lady Jill Biden made a surprise Mother's Day visit, meeting Ukraine's First Lady, Olena Zelensky, to show U.S. support for Ukraine. Back to Asia, the Philippines elect a new president with an old last name. The son of Ferdinand Marcos, the former dictator, that's a ruler with absolute and usually harsh power, is asking to be judged for his actions and not for his ancestry. And as New Yorkers emerge from the pandemic, so do the city's rats. The Big Apple has always had a rodent problem, but as outdoor eating becomes the norm, well, the rats are feasting on the crumbs and multiplying, with more sightings of the scurrying beast since 2010.
Well, thank you so much for that. Wait for it. That whippity-wappity, zippity-zappity rap of what's making headlines elsewhere in the world, Mama.
Anytime, Leela.
Now it's the ACE part of our podcast. That stands for Art, Culture, and Entertainment.
Darling. So, Leela.
Well, Mama.
Ever drawn something or create an art piece that you were so super proud of, you wanted it to be seen by everyone and last forever?
All the time. Except for the money I throw away.
Well, that's a feeling most artists get when they've created something they're proud of. Now, imagine if you could send your best piece to the heavens.
Excuse me?
Okay, well, outer space, as in the moon.
What impossible? When sunlight hits the moon's surface, the temperature can reach a scorching 260 degrees Fahrenheit. That's 127 degrees Celsius. And when the sun goes down, temperature can go to minus 280 Fahrenheit, minus 173 Celsius. My painting would either burn up or freeze.
But what if the art was made specially to handle tough conditions?
Like everlasting art? I like it.
So does an artist from Dubai who's created an out-of-the-world piece of art. For more, let's cut across to
Jeriki from Dubai, who has the story.
Thanks, you guys. When the Dubai-based British artist Sasha Joffrey paints, he's probably thinking of how it will look or how people will feel when they see it. Not whether it will withstand astronomical temperatures, or what a future astronaut or even an alien might think of it. But his artwork is destined for bigger, or should I say further, things. Like a trip to the moon, in fact. Well, okay.
a super sturdy aluminum and gold-plated engraved version of the painting will be headed to the moon.
The artwork resembles a heart with more hearts surrounding it, and two figures entwined or bound together, holding, yep, you guessed it, more hearts. It will be placed on the moon later this year thanks to a NASA project that transports small machines to the southern part of the moon. Let's hope they plan it wisely so nothing goes wrong. In Dubai, I'm Ricky reporting for Newsy Pooloozi.
Haha, plan it wisely. As in planet. Good one, Jay.
And it's not only famous artists and experienced astronauts who can leave a mark on the moon, or should I say, up in space and around the moon. You can too.
Me too? Really?
Okay, just your name, but still cool, right? The plan is to have your name saved on a flash drive, you know, a USB stick or a teeny tiny hard drive that stores information, and it will fly around the moon on the upcoming Artemis 1 mission.
Awesome! Where do I sign up?
You just have to enter your name and your own special PIN code to get a boarding pass. Of course, there's a link in our transcript.
And finally, let's see what the Lucky Dip machine has for us this week. Step right up.
Step right up.
Have a go at the Lucky Dip machine.
The Lucky Dip machine.
What's it going to be today, eh?
An oddball, no doubt.
An oddball, no doubt.
More like an odd walk.
What are you saying about how I walk?
Not about you, Mama. But anyone walking across a new bridge in Vietnam is in for an odd and even stomach-churning stroll.
Oh, is it stinky?
Not stinky, but scary. Possibly downright terrifying. Emphasis on the down bit.
I'm so confused.
It's pretty simple. The world's largest glass-bottom bridge just opened in Vietnam's Son La province.
How long is long and, what is below?
We're talking a stretch of more than 2,000 feet, or 600 meters, above a very pretty green valley. And when I say above...
Yeah?
I'm talking about 500 feet, or 152 meters. Or put another way, a 50-story high building.
Oh, yeah, that's not for anyone with some vertigo issues.
Vertigo?
Oh, that's a sensation of whirling and losing your balance, or your lunch, when you look down from a big height.
Well, it might be a little reassuring to know the bridge's floor is made of 3 layers of super strong and thick glass.
A little.
Also, only 500 people will be allowed on the bridge at once.
500 is a lot.
And they have to walk in one direction at a time. Am I convincing you now?
Yeah, okay, let's visit.
Wait, really? No!
And It's time to wrap up the podcast with
The top 5 facts heard today.
Fab fact number 1. A new study reveals that 1 in 5 reptiles worldwide are threatened with extinction. Which of the following facts is not true about reptiles? Reptiles are hot-blooded vertebrates covered with waterproof scales that keep them hydrated. No, reptiles are not hot-blooded. They're cold-blooded. Fab fact number 2.
What does cold-blooded mean anyway? Having a body temperature that varies with the environment.
Fab fact number 3. A company called Rocket Lab caught a rocket booster with a helicopter as it fell from the sky in hopes of learning how to recycle expensive space gear. What's a rocket booster? The bit that helps boost a rocket into space. Fab fact number 4.
A piece of art has been specially created to withstand temperatures on the moon, which are either super hot or freezing cold. How hot can it be when sunlight hits the moon? 260 degrees Fahrenheit.
Fab fact number 5. The longest glass bottom bridge in the world has opened in Vietnam. But at a height of a 50-storied building, it might not be a good idea for those with vertigo. What's vertigo? The sensation of losing your balance when you look down from a great height. And don't forget, if you want to test yourself later on, then go to the Lucky Dip page of our website, newsypooloozi.com. That's Pooloozi, spelt Pooloozi, and take this quiz online in your own time.
And that brings us to the end of this episode of Newsy Pooloozi. If you enjoyed this dip in the coolest pool of news and information, then do subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Alexa, or wherever you get your podcasts. While you're at it, give us a good rating. Or better still, leave us a review. And don't forget to check out our website, newsypooloozi.com. I repeat, POOLOOZI.com. See you next week in the happy, splashy giant.